4th. And in order to rezone the property in conjunction with the subdivision of land, staff is recommending that at this time only second reading occur. A final reading will be brought before council at a later date once the subdivision is nearing completion.
Thank you very much. And I'd ask if there's anyone in attendance who would like to speak in favor of the amendment to come forward. State your name. Welcome. Thank you. Looks like your mic's still on there. Just state your name, Steve, for the record.
Your Worship, members of the council, I'm Steve Bonjay with Lacombe Developments. Clearly, I'm in favor of what's before you here, but I do understand that council may have some questions of me or of what's going on or whatever, so I'd like to make myself available for that now, if that's indeed the case.
That's all you have there, Rick Bell? All right. Any questions from council? You seem pretty quiet tonight. All right. Thanks, Steve. Thank you. And if there's anybody in attendance that are opposed to the amendment, I'd ask if they come forward. Seeing none, I would ask that if there's anyone who deems to be affected and who wishes to be heard to come forward. And seeing none, I will now declare that this public hearing for bylaw 300.80 be closed at 6:54 p.m. Thank you. So from here, I understand we have our next presenters are in the hall. They're waiting in the hall. Energy Associates International. We have Marty Skinner and Jay Uthman Man O'Haron. Is that correct? Did I say that right? Could you just grab them there? Thank you. Gentlemen, welcome. Come on up. Oh, we apologize, you were waiting. I'll just have you have a seat at the tables there. And the mics are there for you. I think we're loading you have a presentation as well. Yes. And we'll give you the mouse. We'll load that up for you. And we have Marty and Jay, is that correct?
Yes, I'm Marty Skinner, right here.
You bet.
Energy Associates, representing here in Alberta, and Jay is the Managing Director for North America. And believe it or not, he's Irish.
And where did we bring you from this evening, Jay?
Calgary.
From Calgary. Well, thank you for traveling up. We'll get this loaded up for you.
I usually stand and do my presentations. I don't know there are too many screens here.
And I'd ask that you use the mic just for people in attendance as well.
So I don't have control.
Yeah, we'll throw it down to you here and get you rolling. And thank you guys for your patience. I wasn't aware that you were waiting outside there. But we were running a little bit late with the presentations before you as well.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. As you see in the first front slide, here's a list of all our clients, well, some of the clients we serve in Alberta. We're an international company. I'm based in Calgary. We have representatives in Toronto, in Calgary, Edmonton, and we're opening up different markets as we speak. As you see up here, we do serve listed a list of municipalities that we actively serve in Alberta. And to your right, some of our corporate clients that we serve also in Alberta and across Canada, like IKEA, Loblaws, and we have YMCAs across Canada and whatnot. Okay. So my goal today is to talk about two things: how the wholesale energy markets really work, as well as what we do and what we do not do. Okay. So, next slide.
I'm interested about the 49th Street.
I think maybe put the arrow on it and then click it, and then it should scroll.
Like on the white there? Yeah, no, just click, yeah.
Okay.
There.
Okay, what I'm going to be showing here is, on the first slide, is the supply chain for electricity and natural gas. We call it energy. Onto your far left, you'll see as a consumer, whether you're a residential customer or you're buying the bill with the government of Alberta, you have two options of buying your electricity and natural gas. Onto your top, you have a retailer who comes and sells you contracts, fixed price contracts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years into the future. If you don't elect to sign into a long-term contract or a short-term contract, that doesn't mean your natural gas and power stops coming to your homes or to your buildings. You are then served by the utility on the default rate, which is served on the spot market. The spot market is like buying gasoline at the pump. The prices change every day or every week. But you don't see those changes in your bill. What you see as a homeowner, for example, is the average of 30 days, and it's sent to you by the utility provider. So as you see, at the top you have a retailer, and then at the bottom you have the spot market. Now, by virtue of having a retailer, there exists also a wholesaler. Now, the difference between a retailer and a wholesaler, I like to draw the example of 7-Eleven. You walk into 7-Eleven, the products are all pre-packaged, they're put on shelves, the price is already there, you pick the product if you want and leave. 7-Eleven stores don't carry any inventory. The wholesaler carries the inventory. So let's take an example of NMAX. Everybody's familiar with NMAX here, I presume. There's NMAX retail and NMAX wholesale. I came from the supplier OTC wholesale side of the business. So the difference between the retailer and wholesaler is not only limited to who holds the asset, production, power and gas, but these two companies like NMAX Retail and NMAX Wholesale are two independent organizations. The company in the middle, let's take the example of NMAX. NMAX Wholesale is regulated by the Alberta Securities Commission. NMAX Retail is regulated by Service Alberta. Two different organizations, two different P&Ls. Now NMAX Wholesale, the company in the middle, is not alone. Next one. They trade large volumes of power and gas with a whole bunch of different counterparties to your right. And you'll see at the bottom, identified them as OTC. OTC meaning over-the-counter marketer. Examples of OTC marketers are Shell, BP, TransCanada, TD Bank, Scotiabank, a whole bunch of different organizations that have a position of power and gas in the wholesale markets. These markets are not accessed by retailers like NMAX, Direct Energy, AUMA. They don't have access to that market. You have to be operating at the OTC level to have access to those markets, to be able to trade and take a position for your clients. So what you see in the middle, for example, NMAX Wholesale, they have three ways that they can take a position of power and gas and make money. They can trade among themselves with counterparties on to your right, or they can actually retail that wholesale product to their own retailer, who then sells it to the end user. If no one is locking into fixed-term contracts, that doesn't mean they go out of business. They just dump that gas or power in the spot market. As consumers that live day to day, we live this model. We don't see it in our gasoline. You can't go to a Husky station and say, I want to lock in my gasoline for 3, 4, 5 years, because there's no retail mechanism for them to lock it. All you do is you pay the price at the pump at the spot market. That's what it is. Now, at the very top, you see how I've broken down the supply chain to 4 different parts. At the far right, where the OTC markets are trading, that makes up 90% of your price at any given time. Whether you buy it now, or you buy it later, or tomorrow, 90% of your price is traded at the OTC level. Whenever a price is traded, by the time it comes to a trading desk, like say, let's take NMAX for that example, NMAX will add 2% for losses and trading margin. What are these losses? These losses are basically when you produce power at the power plant, by the time it comes to your door, there's going to be losses, right? It's not one for one. Those losses are already factored into the price. So by the time the price hits at the trading desk, 92% of the price is already built up. What's really left is the retailer now adding a premium to profile the product to meet your requirements and credit risk. If you don't pay your bills, the wholesaler is not coming after you, it's the retailer that's coming after you. Obviously with municipalities and with the government of Alberta and City of Lethbridge, some of the clients we serve, you don't have that credit risk. So when you look at the supply chain, 7% of that shaping and credit risk is already applied to the price. The retailer is really left with 1% margin to make their profit. That's not really much. So you look at the supply chain, most consultants, energy aggregation programs and whatnot, they bring a whole bunch of consumers to the table. They work with one retailer or two retailers, but they don't have direct access to the OTC markets. As you can see, 90% of your price at any given time is driven at the OTC market level. So what does EAI do? Well, we work throughout the supply chain. What we do, we can hit the next key. We run our procurement process at the OTC market level. We drive that process real time. The key word here is real time, from the wholesale market right across the supply chain, and we will make retail delivery services arrangements with suppliers to ensure that the product comes to you in the form of a bill. So we don't eliminate the retailers. We do work with retailers that meet certain spec and requirements to ensure that when you call, if you've got a billing problem, someone's there to pick up the phone, your bill's sent to you, because the wholesalers won't do that. So the price is driven from the wholesale side, but the retail services are pre-negotiated in advance prior to going to the market to secure wholesale rate. Any questions so far? This is essentially what we do. Now, the next slide, I'm going to be showing more about what the OTC markets is all about. Just before coming from Calgary, markets had closed, and I took today's closing numbers for electricity, show calendar year 14, 54.25, calendar year 15 at 49, and so forth going up to calendar year 18. What's interesting about this market right now is NMAX wholesale and BP wholesale can go out in the future and secure a contract price for calendar year 15 at $49. And they don't have to exchange any monies until one counterparty actually burns that electricity. Meaning you can pre-buy, but don't pay for it until you take delivery. This is different from a futures market. This is a physical forward market. So what it means is, when a trade is done way into the future, like calendar year 18 is trading at 55.70 today, when January 1st, 2018 comes, two things have to happen. The supply has to exist, and the person receiving the goods have to exist. That's why credit risk is such a huge component in this market here. This table here, retailers, aggregators don't get to see. It's only the OTC marketers get to see. And this is not, it's just a snapshot of the closing price. The prices here you see changes from starting at 7 a.m. because it's all traded in Eastern Standard Time. It's all traded US dollars, so every time the Canadian dollar changes, the numbers change, and it moves throughout the day. Okay? So if you can hit the next one. I'll just give you an appreciation of how the prices have moved throughout the year. Year-to-date low, year-to-date high. As you can see, if you look at your far right, the bottom of the market has been passed already. We've hit the bottom, we're moving very, very quickly, higher and higher and higher, to a certain price point. I'll talk about that price point later. Now, in the brackets in red, if you can see, there's a thing called bid and ask spread at $3. Because of shortness of time, I'm going to show you what it means in a real-time example with the town of Jasper. Next. Similarly for natural gas. What I've shown here for the price of natural gas, you see calendar year 14 is $3.53. As you keep going down the years, you see calendar 18 is trading at $4.33. The price spread between calendar year 14 and 18 is about 80 cents a gigajoule. Now, why is that? As you go further into the future, the credit risk increases for these counterparties, and that's why you're paying a premium for that. Now, when retailers, aggregators come to you and say, here's a 1-year price, 2-year price, and 3-year price, what are they doing? In essence, what they are doing is a 1-year price is $3.50 plus. 2-year price is 350, the weighted average of 353 and 364, divide by 2, plus, 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 and it goes on like that. If you look at this curve, and we are all not, I'm not trying to make you guys become energy traders, but just have an appreciation, okay? If you look at the price going into the future, would you sign a 5-year contract if you saw this dashboard? Why? The prices are going up, right? 5 years ago, this date, an energy aggregation program was put forward to all the munis. The curve profile looked very identical to this. Less expensive in the near term, and more expensive in the long term. What happened? Everybody locked in for 5 years at 833. And most of these munis are coming up their contract December 31st, 2014. You don't have access to these markets. You are making decisions blindly because you don't see this dashboard. You're full so far? Okay, next slide, please. Now, earlier I showed you on the power dashboard, calendar year 14, 15, 16, 17. This diagram is the same type of, same depiction of that, but showing you the trend over time. So calendar year, let's say 14 is the one in brown. I'm showing you how prices have moved from January 2008 over time to where we are today. Can you see go up and down? There's a red line that traverses across the entire screen. That red line is $63. What is that? That is the wholesale cost of producing power from a coal plant in Alberta. Green energy is a lot cheaper than coal, but you can't dispatch a windmill. You can't say blow. It doesn't work that way. But a coal plant is a dispatchable plant. That's the base cost of producing power in Alberta. So in English, what it means is anything above that red line, the producers are making money. Anything below, apparently they're not making money. But I come from that world, and my entire team does. They are making money because that energy is actually traded into the U.S. Okay. Now, what I want to bring to your attention is everybody talks about volume, economies of scale, and whatnot. It's a fallacy. When you buy electricity and natural gas, volume is irrelevant. It's how you use your energy, your profile, and I'll give you a real example of that in the next slide. Look at back in October 2008. What was the price for power at that time? If you look, it's $85, right? $85. What was the price of power in October 2012? $47, right? October 2008 and October 2012. 85 and 47. That was the market. Doesn't matter if you were the city of Lacombe buying at that time or buying at this time, the price of the market is the price. It's not how much you use. Why is this so different to all of us? You drive a Mack truck, he drives a scooter, we pull into a pump, gasoline station, we're paying the price at the pump. It's the price of the market. It's not how much you buy. It's a fallacy. So, in October 2012, did the city of Lacombe, were you guys approached by the suppliers saying, hey, it's a great time to buy on October 12th at 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. It's a great time to buy? No, they can't tell you that. Why? Because A, they don't have access to these OTC markets, and B, they cannot make a recommendation to know when to buy because they don't carry the errors and emissions liability insurance to do what we do at the OTC market. All our contracts have that. With every municipality that we're serving, including the government of Alberta, we serve every building across Alberta here that's owned by the Crown. We have that errors and emissions liability insurance. So that was the bottom of the market. Prices were at a 10-year low. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you the next slide, a real example with permission by the municipality district of Jasper. This is a process that we released an RFP to the market. We negotiated the billing services, the customer care, all the things that you need to operate, to consume energy from a retail perspective. The only thing missing in the RFP when we released the market was the price. We designed the products that met the unique requirements of Jasper, and it was all catered for them. So on October 3, 2012 at 10 a.m., we saw the market dip. We called the firm bid round. All these price quotes came live from the trading desk from NMAX in Calgary, Direct Energy in Houston. We put AMSC TransAlta because AMSC and TransAlta, in fact, TransAlta is the wholesale arm and the retail arm that supplies energy to AMSC, and AMSC is just an aggregator. So we put their quotes together at Hudson back in Toronto. As you can see, the prices, 3-4-year quotes. And you look across the board, you see the prices vary from $60 to $58. AMSC is at $52 for a 4-year, and the winning vendor was NMAX at $47.25. This is a real-time quote that's only live and open for 15 minutes. 15 minutes. The CAO and the Director of Finance was available live. And this transaction was done in 15 minutes. Why is real-time transactions key for any municipality doing this? Is because look at the spread between AUMA and NMAX. 52.28 for a 4-year term and 47.25. That is a $5 spread. You cannot get that in the face-to-face negotiating with the retail business. It has to come from the wholesale market. That's a live OTC transaction. $5 spread. Now look across the next row, administration fee. We negotiated the administration fee for Hudson, AUMA, Direct Energy, all down to 0. That's the retail administration fee. Right now, these suppliers have different price points that they have. Some of you are probably familiar with this contract, and next at the 50 cents a megawatt hour fee on top of that. So when the bids came in live, we ran the numbers, and each, as those of you are familiar with power, each price has to be reconciled 8,760 times because there are 8,760 hours in a year, and we have to do it for each vendor, each year, each term, 3 and 4 years for 4 vendors. Sometimes, like the last bids we did for Strathmore and whatnot, there were 6 or 7 vendors. And the client, we do that in less than 5 minutes. The client makes a decision within 10 minutes. Bang, the deal is done. In this case, the town of Jasper went with NMAX. $47.25 was the price.
And what's your fee
Our fee,
on top of that?
Depending on your volume, I believe we quoted,
It's based on volume?
yes, our fee, because we serve based on load.
So the more we use, the more we pay you?
Or the less you use, the less you pay us, right? and also it's a combination of the complexity of your portfolio. Some they have about 1,000 streetlights in Jasper. I don't know how many streetlights we have, so we have to work at each site ID level. Okay?
So I mean, you must have a fee, if it's based on volume, it's based on per
Megawatt hour. Yes.
megawatt hour.
We have
So then what would be the end price then,
so
with your fee on top of the
So-
46.67?
So what we did was, obviously, we eliminated all the fees from all the other suppliers. The client took advantage of the spread in the market. MX went below wholesale, 47.25. So when they get the bill come January 1st, 2014, they'll have 47.25, and then there'll be a line item that MX will write EAI management fee, $3 a megawatt hour, or $2.30. There'll be a separate line item there. Okay? Any questions about this so far? So what I want to throw to your attention is product now. We've talked about market. Very quickly on product. The blue line that you see going up and down like my heartbeat there, okay, in this meeting, is basically a weekly profile of an aggregation portfolio. How you get that profile is because when you take one building, you take another building, you take another building, you start stacking the buildings up, you stack the peaks, you get a base, and you get a huge peak at the bottom, because every building has like a bell curve profile, right? You're stacking the peaks. What's very unique to Lacombe is the majority, if not all, Michael, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, of your sites don't have an interval meter.
We have no time to use
Okay, meaning Lacombe's profile is the one in purple. The advantage of you doing something on your own is your profile. Look at the spread between the base load and your peak. That's the shaping premium that the wholesalers will have to apply on top, over and above your price to give you a final product that meets the needs of your municipality. So if you were on an aggregated profile, as you can see, if the wholesale price was $50, $50, technical term, and you're on an aggregation type profile, your shaping premium is going to be far higher than if you were on a Lacombe net system load shape profile. It's a technical term that Michael's very familiar with, right, Michael? And you see the spread between your base and your peak is minimal. So it's not about how much you use, it's about how you use and when you buy. Okay? Next. You have got one more slide. So all we have taught so far in this whole discussion here was right up to step 3. Step 1, 2, and 3 pertains to the commodity, how we go to market, the due diligence, how we do it at the wholesale level. Once we help our clients secure a position, we don't walk away and come back 5 years and say, hey, we're new, do this, do that. The markets are dynamic. Price opportunities are created all the time. We actively manage our clients' portfolio, as you can see, or maybe you can't because it's so small. We not only do the procurement, but we manage their budgets. We design their budgets. There are many moving parts in the utility budget, as Michael can tell you also. There's distribution charges, delivery charges, rate, tariffs, and whatnot. We take that off their plate. We do energy reporting, benchmarking, trying to take, our goal is trying to be an extension of your energy department if you have one. If you don't, we become the energy department. And that's what we do for a variety of different clients. For the town of Okotoks, we are everything to them. For West Edmonton Mall, we're just the procurement arm, right? For IKEA, we're just the procurement arm. So it really depends on the needs of our clients. Most municipalities have come to us saying, we'd like you to take all these things off our plate because it's just so time consuming. Well, if you pay your bills every month, right? What we do at the end of the year, we go back to your meters, pull your data, we reconcile the meter data against what you were billed to make sure that you were billed accurately every year. So we do all that kind of stuff. It's all included in that $3 fee or $2.30, whatever fee that we just quoted earlier. Last slide, hopefully this is the last slide. Okay, it all comes down to an active budget management strategy. It's great, we can do magic out there, go get you a great wholesale price and whatnot, but if we cannot help you actively manage your budgets, then we're not meeting the core needs of municipalities because you're all tax driven too, right? So I've got a fictitious example with natural gas. Okay. We're in 2013, looking into the future. We see an opportunity today to buy gas in 2014 and 15 for 2 years at $3. We go out there, we see a wholesale position, we run the RFPs. The city of Lacombe secures a gas price at $3 for 2 years. 2014 comes along and you start burning that gas, okay? You still have 1 more year left, right? Because it's a 2-year contract. But the market is always moving 5 years into the future. This is what the OTC market's all about. So we're still in 14, burning that gas. We still got 1 more year left. We see an opportunity because we're actively managing our portfolio. We see an opportunity to buy 16 at $2.50. We'll give Michael a call and say, Michael, here's an opportunity for us to buy 16 at $2.50. Do we want to go forward or not? If he says yes, we run the RFP process. We secure a position for the city of Lacombe at $2.50 for $2.60. Do you pay for that gas now? No, because you've not burnt it yet. So effectively, by active portfolio management strategy, you have a war chest of price points into the future that we take advantage of versus waiting for your contract to expire every year and say, well, hopefully prices are lower this year, right? And roll the dice. We're managing your portfolio from opportunity to opportunity versus contract to contract. And some of our clients, like the city of Lethbridge, who work on a 5-year budget planning cycle like that, because they know what the price and the cost for electricity and natural gas is going to be into the future, and it's way below wholesale. So what they do in turn, is they'll take that future price and blend it into the current contract to lower the current price. So you burnt gas for 2015, you've taken the 2016 gas at $2.50 and blended it into the 2015 price to effectively lower your current contract price. So that So what we do at the wholesale level is all great, but we try our best to help you manage your budgets more effectively on a sustainable basis as the opportunities in the wholesale market come along. And I'm done. Oh.
Thank you. Good job, Marty. Questions, Council? Councilor Foster?
Thanks, Mayor Christie. Obviously, a very enthusiastic delivery. Thank you very much for the information. Is this presentation available to us? You know, there's an awful lot of information here. I think we need to digest it a bit more, and obviously there's a lot more information that you can provide.
Absolutely. Yes, the answer is yes. I asked if we could keep a copy of this, but we got permission from Jasper to share, but not to leave a copy. So with the exception of that one slide, right? Michael, if you can remove that slide. Okay, I shall.
CEO McQuarrie?
Okay, last but not least, I just brought a cheat sheet here. This cheat sheet was really, somebody made one of the municipalities we serve where we were presenting to council, made some notes and the difference between EAI and our strategy versus an aggregated type strategy. So I've got some cheat sheets, some notes that will help make those points.
Okay, CEO McQuarrie?
Thank you, Mayor Christie. Thank you, Jay. Marty. Jay, you mentioned that you negotiated the retail fees down to zero with the Jasper contract.
Yeah.
Does that mean that AMSC was bidding other than not through their aggregation program, but external to that?
No, it was part of the aggregation.
It was part of the aggregation.
Exactly, right.
But that particular client is not paying retail, or would not have been paying retail fees through the aggregation program.
That's right.
Is that right?
That's right. That's right.
All right, thank you. And your access to the OTC market, you're obviously registered with the Public Securities Commission to have that access?
So no, to access the OTC market, you don't need to access. You don't need to be registered to access this market. You have to be registered with ICE and NGX. It's a trading market. To trade, you have to be registered. We're not traders. We're a consulting firm that has the errors and emissions liability insurance to access the market and take that information and consult for clients. Our clients are the signing counterparties on all the contracts with themselves and the OTC providers. We're not.
So just further clarification for council on that, AMSC has access to certain wholesalers, but not all.
Only one. Only one.
Okay, certainly that was not what they presented this evening.
We run all the bids. In the last few weeks we've been running, we are picking up one municipality on average a week here as a client. And all the bids and AUMA, we've seen the contracts that you probably are not privy to, and they're all, the products they offer and whatnot is all TransAlta. It's all TransAlta. And it's TransAlta retail, not TransAlta wholesale. And you've seen the prices. And talk to our clients. They are the ones that witnessed all these deals, these transactions. There's only one supplier that serves AUMA exclusively right now, and that's TransAlta Retail.
So I guess with that example of Jasper, you had RFPs and prices came in, and AMSC was one of the bidders.
Yes.
And I'm sure that NMAX isn't your only supplier and always the low bidder.
No.
Do you have any clients that you've worked for that AMSC was the supplier? So, and if so,
Good.
AMSC is the supplier, plus they pay your fee as well.
Good.
Whereas AMSC,
That's
they,
good. I can
they
answer
wouldn't
the
charge
question
us
right
for
now.
consulting services.
That's exactly. I wish I can show you the example of the town of Okotoks. The town of Okotoks went to market a few months ago. Rick Wales, the CEO, we went to market. Same. Can you make that bigger? The one. They saw the same screen. From a pricing perspective. Yeah, that one. Yeah. From a pricing perspective, AMSC was not the winning vendor. I can't say who it was. But Okotoks had a very different requirement. They wanted 100% green. So TransAlta Wholesale. TransAlta, if you know, is one of the largest producers in Alberta of coal. And because of Bill 3, there's an emissions penalty that's in place right now. And if TransAlta doesn't want to build windmills, they're going to be penalized for a lot of the emissions that they have. So TransAlta is on a big push to build a lot of windmills. And what TransAlta wants to do is they're discounting the windmills for clients who want to take 100% green. Okotoks always had a position about 70-80%. They wanted to go 100%. Long story short, Okotoks said we'll go 100%. And because of that, TransAlta discounted their green by more than 80%. And that's the only reason TransAlta or AMSC was the winning vendor, not because of power, because of the whole package deal. And on that deal, their fees were negotiated down to $1 megawatt hour for green and for the regular power, and our fees were over and above that. Yes, that's correct. So we're not excluding AUMA in this process, we're inviting them to the table in every deal.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Director Mitchell.
So, just wanted to give council kind of a background as to where the city is in electricity. So you saw presentations today for gas. Our gas contract has another year to go. Rather than renew, we actually sat and waited for the price to drop because we knew it was coming. So we actually have a year to go before, compared to a lot of the other municipalities. So electricity is due at the end of this year, after a 5-year term. Our previous practice in the past has been for the city to manage either through a consultant or on our own to issue an RFP for basically retail service electricity. And as Jay indicated, those bids they change. And so our practice in the past is to go out to an RFP